knowing the context is more important than ever. So, context, right? You hear people say, it has to be in its context. You have to understand the context, or you're taking it out of context. Now, I'm sure you heard these phrases more times than you can count. Now, context needs to be, it's important to establish context, whether you're in a situation or whether in conversation. Context is very important. Without context, there's no goal or reason to the conversation or an action if you don't know the context. Without context, you can't make a important call of a situation. You can't judge the call critically. Especially in today's times, people just I'll just say many take that phrase and they overuse it. They use it to get out of situations. But I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna explain that in another video. This video is about why context is important. Because without context, you can't make accurate results if you don't know the context. And pretty much the main point of something, whether the main point of a conversation, whether you're judging something or whether you're judging a situation, context is very important because context establishes boundaries. And staying on topic. It's not all over the place. You say you have a topic, right? You're discussing with someone. Say something about you're discussing about an apple and how good an apple is. Now, based on how you start the conversation, the context is established. And it's important to establish the context. For example, if I say, apples are better than oranges, then the person will say, I disagree. Apples are not better than oranges. Oranges are better than apples. Or a person could say, apples is as good as oranges. It's neither better than the other. So then, if you think apples are better than oranges, you will explain the reasons why. And why it's better than oranges, right? Or vice versa. Now, if you venture off saying that oh, apples are better than oranges because you can make more money selling selling apples than oranges. That's a completely different. That's taken out of context. That's not the context of the conversation. So you can talk about how it tastes. And you can talk about the nutritional facts. You can weave it together. But if you bring in another topic that you're trying to make your point, then it's not valid. You're taking it out of context. So if I'm talking about apples are better than oranges, I'm going to say apples are better than oranges because it's sweeter, or it does more nutritional things to the body than oranges. Now, it wouldn't make sense if you combat that. If you say oranges are better than apples because I don't have to eat the skin, I don't have to worry about germs, and then you go off a tangent on how it's less germy than apples. Now, when you start to venture off, you have to come back to the topic. If you add another caveat to it, then it's just a redundant conversation. Now, say if a person is neutral, right? Bringing balance, a person could say, apples are not better nor an orange is better. It depends on the person's taste, or the reason why the person, likes it. So in that case, oranges are not better than apples, and apples are not better than oranges. But it depends on the person's taste. Now that is how you can establish balance in the conversation within context, the point of the conversation. So when a person says, it's got to be in context, it means you have to stay on point, the point of the conversation. You can't bring in other factors into the conversation. The factors that you bring needs to match the conversation. Now, that was just an example of context and how important context. It's important to establish the context, because if you don't establish the point of the conversation, you don't put it in its context, or whether you're entering a contract, then you're going to be in chaos. It's going to be for nothing. There's not going to be no point. Well, I hope that explains context and how important context is to establish. Because when it's in context, things are in order. Without its proper context, then it's out of order. Like, share, comment, and subscribe. And hit that notification bell button. Why don't you? And subscribe.